Imagine walking down a corridor that curves just enough to hide the far end, where the walls are a rhythmic blur of white panels and grey storage lockers. Above you, the LEDs are dialed to a warm, late afternoon glow, a deliberate trick to make you forget you're buried under meters of lunar dust. There's a specific smell here too, a sharp metallic tang softened by the unexpected scent of something green and growing deeper in the module. When I first encountered descriptions of lunar habitats, I found myself wondering what it would actually feel like to live inside one of these cylindrical modules buried beneath meters of grey dust on another world. The main corridor stretches about 40 meters from one end of this module to the other, connecting living quarters to the common areas where people gather. The diameter measures roughly 8 meters, creating enough space to move comfortably, but not so much that volume becomes wasteful and difficult to pressurize. Every cubic meter of air represents resources transported from Earth or extracted from lunar regolith at considerable effort and energy cost. The cylindrical shape distributes pressure evenly across the walls, making the structure stronger and requiring less material than other configurations might demand. You are listening to the Drowsy Astronaut, and tonight we explore life on the moon, beginning with visualizing the first habitat where permanent residents live and work. There is no rush in this exploration, no urgency, just a slow, relaxing walk through the spaces where humans might someday build homes beyond Earth. If this journey helps you rest, consider sharing where you are listening from in the comments, and perhaps a like or subscription if the channel brings you comfort. Walking along the corridor requires adapting to the gentle tug of lunar gravity, pulling you downward with only 1/6 of Earth's familiar force. Each step wants to become a bounce. Unless you consciously restrain the motion, your muscles calibrated for a different world, sending you higher than intended. The floor beneath your feet has a textured surface, tiny ridges providing grip that prevents sliding even when moving quickly or pushing off from walls. Handholds are positioned strategically along both sides of the corridor, offering stability when carrying objects or moving during equipment malfunctions that might reduce lighting or create other challenges. The walls themselves serve multiple purposes beyond simply containing the breathable atmosphere that keeps everyone alive in the vacuum outside. Behind the smooth panels, insulated pipes carry water recycled endlessly through purification systems, delivering it to living quarters, the galley, and the greenhouse modules. Electrical conduits run alongside the water lines, distributing power generated by solar panels on the surface during the 2-week lunar day or by battery systems during the equally long night. Air ducts ensure circulation throughout the habitat, moving oxygen-rich air from the plant-growing areas and carbon dioxide back to where the plants can use it for photosynthesis. Storage lockers occupy every available wall space, their doors labeled with contents ranging from spare parts for life support systems to carefully rationed food supplies. The organization is meticulous because finding something quickly might mean the difference between a minor problem and a dangerous situation when systems fail. Each locker is designed to seal completely, preventing dust contamination when surface access is necessary, and maintaining organization in the microgravity-like ease of movement low-gravity permits. The labels are color-coded, a system developed early and maintained religiously, because clear communication about where things are located matters when your survival depends on functioning equipment. Reaching the junction where the corridor branches toward the living quarters and the common areas, the space opens into a slightly wider intersection. A small viewport is set into the wall here, perhaps 30 centimeters across. Its thick glass capable of withstanding the pressure differential between inside and the vacuum beyond. Through this window, the lunar surface stretches away under harsh sunlight that creates absolute blacks in the shadows and brilliant whites on sunlit regolith. The landscape appears frozen and lifeless, no movement except the occasional shift of shadow as the sun crawls across the sky over the course of Earth days. The regolith covering the habitat sits about 3 meters thick above these modules, a deliberate burial that provides essential protection from radiation. Solar radiation, cosmic rays, and occasional solar flares all pose dangers to human tissue, and the thick layer of lunar soil blocks most of this harmful energy before it can reach the living spaces. The same regolith also insulates against the extreme temperature swings outside, where surfaces in sunlight reach 127 degrees Celsius, while areas in shadow plunge to minus 173 degrees. Inside, climate control systems maintain a comfortable 22 degrees Celsius year-round, the temperature we consider room temperature back on Earth. The common area opens up as the corridor widens, revealing a space designed for the dozen or so people who call this habitat home. Modular furniture can be rearranged to suit different activities, from shared meals to meetings about work schedules and system maintenance. A small galley occupies one wall, its compact appliances adapted for low-gravity cooking, where liquids behave differently and hot foods must be contained carefully. The smell of something cooking mingles with the background scent of recycled air, creating an almost homey atmosphere, despite the knowledge that beyond these walls lies an environment instantly lethal to human life. A larger viewport dominates one wall of the common area, this one perhaps a meter wide and half a meter tall. Through it, Earth hangs in the black sky, appearing about 4 times larger than the Moon appears from Earth's surface. The planet shows its familiar blues and whites, cloud patterns visible even from this distance of 380,000 kilometers. Seeing Earth from here creates a strange emotional response, a mixture of homesickness and wonder at the perspective that few humans have ever experienced directly. The viewport becomes a gathering spot during quiet moments when work schedules allow. People drawn to the view of home even as they build new lives here. Earth goes through phases, just as the Moon does when viewed from Earth, the planet waxing and waning over the course of the lunar month. During the lunar day, when the sun illuminates the surface outside, Earth appears as a crescent or half phase, never full. During lunar night, when the colony runs on stored power and the surface outside lies in complete darkness, Earth reaches its full phase, reflecting sunlight and casting pale blue light across the landscape, visible through the window. The greenhouse module connects to the common area through a sealed door that helps maintain humidity levels appropriate for plant growth. Opening this door releases a rush of warm, moist air that carries the unmistakable smell of growing things, of soil and leaves, and the life processes of plants, converting carbon dioxide into oxygen. Inside, rows of vegetables grow under LED lighting calibrated to wavelengths optimal for photosynthesis. the plants appearing slightly purple under the mix of red and blue light. Lettuce, tomatoes, herbs, and other fast-growing crops occupy tiered growing racks that maximize the use of vertical space in the cylindrical module. The plants serve multiple purposes beyond simply providing fresh food to supplement the stored supplies brought from Earth. They produce oxygen as they photosynthesize, contributing to the breathable atmosphere and reducing the load on mechanical oxygen generation systems. They absorb carbon dioxide, exhaled by the human residents, helping maintain the atmospheric balance necessary for comfort and health. The psychological benefits of tending living plants and watching them grow in an environment otherwise devoid of life cannot be easily measured, but are considered essential for long-term habitation. The growing medium is not soil brought from Earth, but a carefully engineered substrate made from lunar regolith, treated to remove toxic compounds like perchlorates. Water circulates through hydroponic systems, delivering nutrients directly to plant roots with efficiency impossible in traditional agriculture. The water is recycled endlessly, collected from condensation, purified through multiple stages of filtration, and returned to the plants in a closed loop that loses almost nothing to the vacuum outside. Every drop represents precious resources, either brought from Earth at enormous cost or extracted from the ice deposits in permanently shadowed craters near the lunar poles. Living quarters branch off from the main corridor in a separate section of the habitat, each person allocated a small private space. These sleeping compartments measure perhaps 2 meters by 2 meters by 2.5 meters tall, barely larger than a closet, but offering essential privacy. Each compartment contains a sleeping bag, secured to prevent drifting during sleep. Though the low gravity makes any sleeping position comfortable, since there is no heavy pull flattening your body against a mattress. Personal items occupy small storage nets and secured shelves. Photographs from Earth reminding residents of family and friends waiting hundreds of thousands of kilometers away. The compact nature of the living quarters reflects the reality that bringing material to the moon or creating new space through construction requires substantial resources and energy. Every cubic meter of pressurized volume demands structural materials, life support capacity, and energy to maintain temperature and atmospheric conditions. The habitat grows slowly as manufacturing capabilities expand, and as raw materials are processed from the regolith outside, but expansion is measured and deliberate. Adding a new module might take months of preparation, construction, testing, and integration with existing systems before anyone can safely occupy the new space. Shared bathroom facilities are located centrally, designed for use in low gravity, where water does not flow downward as it would on Earth. Showers use minimal water that is captured and recycled, the experience brief but efficient. Toilets use airflow to direct waste into sealed containers for processing and eventual recycling of the water and nutrients they contain. Nothing is wasted in an environment where every molecule of water and every nutrient has value, where the closed-loop systems that sustain life depend on recovering and reusing everything possible. The low gravity affects every aspect of daily life, in ways both obvious and subtle, from how you move through spaces to how you manipulate objects. A drinking container must be sealed, or the liquid will float away in wobbling globules if tipped too far. Eating requires some adaptation, learning to control food that weighs 1/6 what your muscles expect, and that may drift if not secured to a plate. The gentle environment makes moving heavy objects easy, since weight is so reduced. But stopping something once it is in motion proves challenging, since mass and inertia remain unchanged from what they would be on Earth. Exercise equipment occupies a dedicated area near the living quarters. The machines designed to provide resistance training, essential for maintaining bone density and muscle mass. Without regular exercise, the human body adapts to the low-gravity environment by reducing bone mineral density and allowing muscles to atrophy. Astronauts on the International Space Station experience similar challenges, and the countermeasures developed for orbital missions apply equally to lunar habitation. Each resident is expected to spend at least 2 hours daily exercising, a requirement enforced not by rules alone, but by the visible evidence of what happens to those who neglect this duty. The habitat hums quietly with the constant operation of fans, pumps, filters, and other machinery that maintains the living environment. These sounds become background noise, barely noticed after the first few days, but creating a reassuring presence that tells you the systems are working. Silence would be alarming, indicating power loss or system failure that requires immediate attention. The hum is the sound of life being sustained by machines processing air and water and regulating temperature, the mechanical heartbeat of the habitat, keeping everyone alive. Time inside follows Earth schedules, despite the lunar day-night cycle that stretches across nearly a month. Clocks are set to universal coordinated time, providing a standard reference that prevents confusion when communicating with Earth-based mission control or with family members scattered across different time zones. The artificial lighting in the habitat follows a 24-hour cycle, brightening gradually to simulate morning and dimming in the evening to encourage natural sleep patterns. Maintaining circadian rhythms proves essential for long-term health and psychological well-being in an environment where looking outside provides no clue about what time it should be. The ceiling height throughout the habitat is kept relatively low at about 2.5 meters, a compromise between providing adequate space for movement and minimizing the volume that must be pressurized and climate-controlled. Taller people must adapt to occasionally ducking through doorways or working in spaces that would feel cramped on Earth. The low ceiling also helps psychologically, creating cozier spaces that feel more enclosed and protective, rather than exposing residents to the vast emptiness outside. The habitat becomes a refuge, a small bubble of Earth-like conditions maintained through constant technological effort in a profoundly hostile environment. The psychological aspect of habitat life deserves recognition alongside the physical and technical dimensions of surviving on the Moon. Living in close quarters with a small group of people, knowing that stepping outside without protection means death in minutes, creates stresses unknown in most Earth environments. Mission planners screen candidates carefully for psychological resilience, social compatibility, and the ability to function under pressure. Even with careful selection, conflicts arise, relationships strain, and the need for personal space competes with the communal nature of survival in such an isolated location. Support structures help manage the psychological challenges, including regular communication with psychologists on Earth, structured schedules that provide routine and purpose, and designed social activities that build community bonds. The ability to contact family on Earth through video links proves crucial for maintaining emotional connections that span the distance. The slight delay of about 1.3 seconds each direction in radio signals creates an unusual rhythm to conversations, but does not prevent meaningful communication. Some residents adapt easily, finding satisfaction in the unique environment and the pioneering nature of the endeavor, while others struggle with homesickness and the desire to return to Earth's familiar gravity and open spaces. The habitat represents the foundation of lunar civilization, the first step in a journey that might eventually lead to cities of thousands or millions. Right now, this small collection of modules, buried beneath regolith, serves as home to perhaps a dozen people who are learning what it means to live on another world. Every problem solved, every system improved, every challenge overcome adds to the knowledge base that will support larger populations in the future. The residents are pioneers in the truest sense, exploring not just a physical landscape, but the boundaries of human adaptation to alien environments. Moving through the habitat day by day, the routines become familiar, and the extraordinary gradually feels ordinary. Though looking through a viewport at Earth, hanging in the black sky always brings a moment of recognition that this is not Kansas anymore, not anywhere on the home planet at all. The gentle pull of gravity, different from what billions of years of evolution prepared human bodies to experience. The recycled air that has passed through filters and plants and the lungs of your companions. The knowledge that meters of rock above and rigid walls around are all that separate you from a vacuum that would kill in seconds. These realities define existence here. And yet, people adapt, find comfort, build lives, and begin to call this strange, buried cylinder home. The first thing you notice after arriving at the lunar habitat is how differently your body moves in the reduced gravity that defines every moment of existence here. Standing feels odd initially, as though you might float away if you relax too much, though the moon's pull is still substantial enough to keep you firmly grounded. When you try to walk normally, using the gait developed over a lifetime on Earth, you find yourself bounding upward with each step, covering far more distance than intended. The instinct to lean forward while walking must be recalibrated, because the same motion that propels you forward on Earth sends you into a shallow arc here. Learning to move efficiently in 1/6 gravity takes days of practice, your brain gradually building new patterns for controlling muscles and anticipating how your body will respond. The most effective technique resembles a gentle loping motion, each step a controlled hop that skims across the floor, rather than the heel-toe rolling motion of Earth walking. You learn to push off more gently, to land softly, to use handholds when available to control your trajectory. Moving quickly becomes a series of bounds, and stopping requires planning ahead because your momentum carries you forward longer than it would under Earth's stronger pull. Reaching for objects requires similar recalibration of your internal models, of how things should behave, and how much force to apply. A coffee container that would weigh perhaps 300 grams on Earth weighs only 50 grams here, and lifting it with Earth-strength muscles sends it shooting upward if you are not careful. Your brain expects resistance that is not there, and objects feel almost weightless in your hands. The mass remains unchanged though, so while picking up something is easy, accelerating it quickly or stopping it once moving requires the same force it would on Earth. Dropping an object provides one of the more disconcerting experiences of low-gravity life. The item falling in slow motion that gives you ample time to notice the mistake and often to catch the object before it hits the floor. A dropped tool that would hit the ground in half a second on Earth takes nearly 2.5 seconds to fall the same distance here. This slower fall reduces the impact force when things do hit surfaces, making breakage less common and falls less dangerous. You can knock something off a shelf and casually reach down to catch it before it completes its lazy descent. Liquids behave in ways that seem almost magical if you're accustomed only to Earth's gravity, the reduced pull allowing surface tension to play a larger role in determining shapes and behavior. Pouring water from a container requires careful angles and slow movements, or the liquid will float away in wobbling blobs rather than flowing in a neat stream. Drinking from an open cup proves nearly impossible because tilting the cup does not cause the liquid to flow toward your mouth reliably. Instead, beverages are sipped through straws from sealed containers or consumed from squeeze bottles that force the liquid out mechanically. The bathroom presents particular challenges when water does not fall predictably, and when standing on a scale reveals you weigh 1/6 your Earth weight, a number that can be psychologically confusing. Showers use minimal water that is pushed through nozzles with pressure. The spray captured by airflow that pulls the water toward drains before it can float away and coat every surface with moisture. You stand or crouch in an enclosed stall while a vacuum system pulls air and water downward, creating an artificial down through airflow rather than gravity. The experience is efficient but not luxurious, water being too precious for long showers even if the recycling systems recover it. Moving through doorways between modules requires a gentle push to propel yourself forward, then grabbing a handhold on the other side to stop your drift before you collide with equipment or walls. The lack of atmospheric resistance means you continue moving at constant velocity until something stops you, making hallways feel endless if you push off too hard. Learning to judge the force needed to traverse a corridor without overshooting becomes second nature within weeks, your body adapting through practice to this environment that responds so differently from the one where you learned to move as a child. Exercise becomes a central activity of each day, not optional recreation, but mandatory health maintenance that consumes several hours of everyone's time. The human body evolved under Earth's gravity and begins to deteriorate when that constant load is reduced. Bones lose density because the stress that normally triggers continuous renewal is diminished, the body perceiving that thick, strong bones are unnecessary in this gentle environment. Without intervention, bone density can decrease by 1 to 2% per month, leading to osteoporosis-like conditions that would make returning to Earth dangerous. Muscles similarly atrophy when they no longer need to work as hard to move your body and lift objects. The heart becomes less efficient, adapting to pumping blood that is not pulled as strongly toward the feet, and cardiovascular conditioning declines. These changes happen automatically, the body's natural efficiency eliminating capacity it perceives as unnecessary. The only way to prevent this degradation is through regular, intensive exercise that provides the loading bones and muscles need to maintain their strength and the cardiovascular challenge the heart requires to stay healthy. The exercise equipment is designed to provide resistance rather than relying on weights that would feel too light to be effective. Resistance bands, spring-loaded devices, and machines that you push or pull against create the force needed to strain muscles and bones. A treadmill includes a harness system that pulls you downward with adjustable force, simulating heavier gravity and allowing you to run against resistance that approaches what you would experience on Earth. The harness feels awkward at first, but becomes familiar, the pressure around your waist and shoulders creating the load your body needs. Cycling on a stationary bike works well in low gravity because your weight pressing on the seat still creates enough contact for comfortable pedaling. The resistance can be adjusted to create a challenging workout, and many residents find cycling more enjoyable than the treadmill harness. Rowing machines similarly provide full body exercise, the pulling motion engaging muscles throughout the arms, back, and legs. The variety of equipment helps prevent boredom during the daily exercise sessions that no one looks forward to, but everyone recognizes as essential. Resistance training targets specific muscle groups, ensuring that no area is neglected as the body adapts to the reduced gravity. Squats with resistance bands around your thighs force the leg muscles to work harder than simple movement in low gravity would require. Upper body exercises maintain arm and shoulder strength that everyday activities no longer challenge sufficiently. Core muscles require attention because they do less work maintaining posture when gravity is not pulling you strongly downward. Each exercise is prescribed and logged, with regular assessments to ensure that bone density and muscle mass remain within acceptable ranges. The psychological challenge of daily mandatory exercise cannot be understated, the requirement feeling burdensome when time is precious and work demands attention. Some residents embrace the routine, finding satisfaction in maintaining their fitness and enjoying the endorphin release that vigorous exercise provides. Others resent the time taken from activities they find more meaningful or enjoyable, going through the motions with minimal enthusiasm. The social aspect helps, with scheduled group exercise sessions, creating camaraderie and mutual encouragement that makes the time pass more easily. Children born on the moon present an unknown in terms of physical development, their bones and muscles growing from birth in an environment fundamentally different from the one that shaped human evolution. Early predictions suggest they will grow taller and lankier than they would have on Earth, their bones not needing to support as much weight and therefore developing differently. Whether they would ever be able to tolerate Earth's gravity remains uncertain, their bodies possibly too adapted to the moon to function normally under 6 times the pull they have known their entire lives. The cardiovascular system adapts significantly to low gravity, the heart doing less work to pump blood upward against the weaker pull. Blood does not pool in the legs as it does on Earth, and the heart gradually becomes smaller and less powerful as it adapts to the reduced demands. This adaptation creates no problems for life on the moon, but would make returning to Earth challenging, the weakened heart struggling to maintain blood pressure when gravity pulls blood downward with Earth's familiar strength. Astronauts returning from months on the International Space Station experience similar issues, feeling dizzy and weak until their bodies readapt to planetary gravity. The inner ear, which helps maintain balance and spatial orientation, also requires adaptation to the new gravity level. Initially, many people experience a mild disorientation as their vestibular system tries to interpret signals that do not match Earth-based expectations. The sense of which direction is up becomes somewhat flexible when falling is slower, and when jumping takes you meters into the air. Within a few weeks, the brain adapts, recalibrating its understanding of movement and balance to match the new environment. The adaptation is so complete that returning to Earth would require a similar adjustment period in reverse. The pleasure of movement in low gravity cannot be entirely dismissed, despite the health challenges it creates. Being able to jump several meters from a standing start feels like a superpower. The ease of leaping over obstacles and reaching high places, providing a sense of capability impossible on Earth. Gentle flying with minimal assist devices becomes possible in larger enclosed spaces, the low gravity requiring only small forces to keep you aloft. Children born here will never know the constraint of Earth's heavy pull, their movement always light and effortless in ways that Earth-raised humans can only experience temporarily. Sports and recreation adapt to take advantage of the low gravity, creating games and activities impossible anywhere else. Basketball with 3-meter-high hoops still allows spectacular dunks, and the ball's slower arc creates different strategies and techniques. Low-gravity gymnastics includes moves that would be impossible on Earth. Multiple flips and spins completed during a single jump. Dancing becomes three-dimensional, partners able to lift and support each other with ease, creating movements of remarkable grace and complexity. The practical applications of low-gravity movement extend beyond recreation into work and daily life. Construction workers can handle building materials that would require machinery on Earth, moving beams and panels that would be impossibly heavy elsewhere. Installing equipment overhead requires only a gentle jump to reach working height, reducing the need for ladders or scaffolding. The ease of movement makes certain tasks faster and less physically demanding, though the tendency to bound and float away requires constant attention and sometimes creates its own challenges. Despite the advantages and pleasures, most long-term residents report missing the solid, grounded feeling of Earth's gravity that provides a constant reference and keeps you firmly planted. The lightness can feel insubstantial, as though you are always on the verge of floating away, never quite fully settled. Some experience disturbing dreams of falling that never ends, or of being unable to gain traction when running. The psychological impact of living in reduced gravity receives ongoing study. The long-term effects, uncertain as the lunar population grows, and the first generation raised entirely in this environment reaches maturity. The moon's gentle pull becomes normal. After enough time, your movements automatic and unconsciously adjusted to the conditions you live with every day. You stop thinking about the low gravity in the same way Earth dwellers stop thinking about Earth's pull, the constant becoming invisible through familiarity. When new arrivals bound clumsily through corridors or overreach when picking up objects, experienced residents smile with recognition of their own early struggles. The adaptation is universal, the human body and brain proving remarkably capable of adjusting to conditions far from the African savanna, where our species evolved its movement patterns. The day-night cycle that structures time on the moon operates on a completely different rhythm from the one humans evolved under, creating challenges that shape how the colony organizes work and rest. The sun rises above the lunar horizon slowly, taking several Earth hours to climb from first light to full day, creating a dawn that unfolds across timeframes that feel wrong to instincts developed under Earth's rapid sunrise. The glow begins as a faint brightening along the horizon, growing steadily brighter over hours as the sun's edge approaches visibility. When the solar disk finally appears, it looks the same size as from Earth, but burns with unfiltered intensity through the vacuum that stands in place of atmosphere. The light is harsh and white, casting absolutely black shadows with edges sharp enough to cut, no air to scatter and soften the illumination. This sunrise marks the beginning of a day that will last 14 Earth days and 18 hours, 2 full weeks of continuous, unrelenting sunlight. During this extended day, solar panels deployed on the surface above the habitat generate abundant power that charges battery banks and runs all the colony's systems with energy to spare. The surface becomes accessible for external work and exploration, though temperatures in direct sunlight climb to 127 degrees Celsius, requiring careful thermal management in spacesuits. The landscape appears frozen in harsh light and deep shadow. No movement except the slow creep of shadows as the sun climbs and then descends across its weeks-long arc. The sun reaches its highest point at lunar noon, roughly 7 Earth days after sunrise, appearing at the peak of its arc across the black sky where Earth's stars remain visible, surrounding the bright solar disk. The heat at this point is most intense, the sunlight bearing down with nothing to filter or reflect it before it strikes the ground. Regolith in direct sunlight could boil water or melt lead, the temperature extremes making this both a resource and a hazard. Inside the buried habitat, temperature control systems work constantly to dump the heat that seeps through insulation, despite layers of regolith and careful design of thermal barriers. As lunar day continues past its peak, the sun begins its equally slow descent towards the opposite horizon, the movement barely perceptible from hour to hour, but obvious across Earth days. The shadows swing around rocks and crater walls, rotating as the sun traces its path overhead. For someone standing in one place for the entire lunar day, the sun would appear to move from one horizon to the other. Over the course of nearly a month, its motion so slow that you could easily outrun it by walking casually toward the sunset point. Sunset mirrors sunrise in its leisurely pace, the sun taking hours to sink below the horizon as the light dims gradually. The last rays of direct sunlight stretch shadows to extraordinary lengths, the low-angle light creating dramatic landscapes where every tiny feature casts a shadow meters or tens of meters long. When the sun finally dips completely below the horizon, the transition to night is not immediate. A faint glow persists briefly as sunlight scattered by the tenuous exosphere provides a few minutes of twilight. Then true darkness falls and the lunar night begins. The night lasts as long as the day, 14 Earth days and 18 hours of complete darkness, broken only by Earthlight reflecting from the planet hanging overhead. Earth appears 3 to 4 times larger than the Moon appears from Earth, the familiar blue and white planet going through its full range of phases during the lunar month. During lunar day, when the surface here is sunlit, Earth appears as a crescent or half phase, the planet itself experiencing night on the hemisphere facing the Moon. During lunar night here, Earth reaches its full phase, reflecting maximum sunlight and illuminating the lunar landscape with pale blue light. The Earthlight during lunar night creates a gentle illumination that allows the human eye to see surface features and navigate with some difficulty. The familiar planet, casting light roughly 40 times brighter than the Moon provides to Earth. The light has a blue-white quality, Earth's oceans and atmosphere, giving the reflected sunlight a color distinct from the grey regolith it illuminates. Standing on the surface during lunar night, with Earth overhead, creates a scene of stark beauty, the ground visible in shades of grey, and the black sky filled with stars that shine steadily, without the twinkling that Earth's atmosphere creates. Working on the surface during lunar night requires artificial lighting, because even Earth light is insufficient for detailed work or safe navigation across rough terrain. The lights create pools of brilliance in the darkness, harsh and shadowless where they point directly, but leaving everything else in deep black. The temperature during night plunges to minus 173 degrees Celsius, cold enough to freeze carbon dioxide if any were present, requiring spacesuits to provide heating that consumes power at a steady rate. The cold is not felt directly through the insulated suits, but equipment must be designed to function across temperature ranges of 300 degrees, from lunar day to lunar night. Inside the habitat, the lunar day-night cycle influences operations, even though artificial lighting maintains an Earth-like schedule for human health and comfort. During the 2-week day, external work is scheduled, solar panels generate surplus power, and the batteries charge to capacity. Construction projects that require surface access proceed, with workers rotating in shifts to avoid exposure to the intense heat and radiation, despite protective suits. Exploration missions venture farther from the habitat, rovers traveling hundreds of kilometers during the long day before returning or establishing temporary camps. During the 2-week night, external work continues, but becomes more challenging with the cold and the need for artificial lighting. The solar panels generate no power, and the colony depends entirely on batteries charged during the day or on nuclear power sources that provide steady baseline energy regardless of sunlight. Internal projects take priority. During night, equipment maintenance, manufacturing using materials mined during the day, research that does not require surface access. The rhythm becomes familiar, activity levels shifting with the lunar cycle, even as individual humans maintain their 24-hour sleep-wake patterns. The artificial day-night cycle inside the habitat follows universal coordinated time, providing a standard that prevents confusion and maintains biological rhythms essential for health. Lights brighten gradually in the morning hours, reaching full intensity during the day, then dimming in the evening to signal approaching sleep time. The transition is managed to mimic Earth's natural light changes, supporting the circadian rhythms that regulate sleep, alertness, hormone production, and countless other biological processes. Without these cues, human health deteriorates as sleep patterns become disrupted and physiological systems fall out of synchronization. The psychological challenge of knowing intellectually that the sun rose 5 Earth days ago and will not set for another 9 days, while your body insists it is evening because the lights have dimmed, takes some adjustment. Looking at a clock that says 7 p.m. while knowing the sun is blazing outside, in a day that started earlier this week, creates cognitive dissonance that never entirely resolves. Residents learn to separate the internal time that governs their personal schedules from the external lunar time that determines surface operations and power availability. Children growing up in this environment will experience the lunar day-night cycle as natural. Their earliest memories, including 2 weekdays, and Earth light illuminating the landscape during the long nights. They will understand intellectually that Earth has 24-hour cycles, but their lived experience will be the slow march of the sun across the sky over weeks. Whether this creates different psychological patterns or affects how they perceive time remains unknown. One of many questions about human development in lunar conditions that will only be answered as the first generation matures. The twice-monthly transition between day and night becomes a marker in the colony's calendar. Events scheduled around sunrise or sunset in ways that seem strange from an Earth perspective. Mission planning speaks of this day, meaning a 2-week period rather than 24 hours, requiring careful communication to avoid confusion. Scientific observations might be scheduled for next night, meaning 10 Earth days in the future, or construction planned for the day after next, meaning 6 weeks from now. The language adapts, but the adaptation requires constant awareness of context and clear definitions of terms. The slow transitions mean that dawn and dusk each last for days as the sun gradually appears or disappears, creating prolonged periods of low-angle lighting that are optimal for certain observations and challenging for others. The shadows during these times reveal surface features invisible at lunar noon when the sun is directly overhead. Craters become visible through the shadows their rims cast, and small rocks create long, dark streaks across the regolith. Photographers find these periods ideal for capturing dramatic images of the landscape, the low light creating depth and texture that harsh overhead sunlight erases. Solar panel efficiency varies throughout the lunar day as the angle of sunlight changes, the panels generating maximum power when the sun is highest and less during the morning and evening hours of lunar day. The panels are designed to track the sun's position, tilting to maintain optimal angles throughout the day. But the slow solar motion means adjustments are needed only once every few Earth days. Energy storage must account for the 2-week night, requiring battery banks large enough to power the colony for 14 days, or supplementary power from nuclear reactors that operate continuously, regardless of sunlight. Temperature management inside the habitat responds to the external conditions, even though regolith insulation and active climate control maintain steady internal temperatures. During lunar day, cooling systems work harder to reject heat that seeps inward from the sun-baked surface above. During lunar night, heating becomes the priority as cold penetrates from the frozen surface. Though the regolith insulation reduces the temperature swing compared to the 300-degree variation at the surface itself, the energy balance shifts with the lunar cycle, consumption patterns changing in predictable ways that operators account for in planning power generation and storage. The lack of atmospheric wind or weather means the lunar day-night cycle is entirely a function of solar position. Nothing else changes from day to night except light and temperature. There are no clouds to obscure the sun, no rain or snow, no seasons in the Earth sense of changing weather patterns. The regularity is absolute and predictable, the sun rising and setting on exactly the same schedule it has followed for billions of years. This constancy makes planning reliable, but also creates a certain monotony. The environment never surprising you with an unexpected storm or a sudden change in conditions. For the colony to expand beyond simple survival to true sustainability, resources must be extracted from the lunar environment itself, turning the moon's raw materials into everything needed to support and grow the population. The regolith covering the lunar surface extends downward for meters in most places, a loose powder and gravel created by billions of years of meteorite impacts, pulverizing the bedrock below. This material is not soil in the Earth sense. No organic matter enriches it. No microorganisms process it. No water binds it together. It consists purely of broken rock fragments, mineral grains, and tiny beads of glass formed when impacts melted and rapidly cooled surface material. Despite these differences from soil, the regolith contains nearly everything the colony needs to survive and expand. The elements locked in mineral structures, waiting to be extracted through processing. Oxygen makes up roughly 40% of lunar regolith by weight, bound into metal oxides and silicate minerals that formed billions of years ago when the moon's surface was molten. This oxygen is chemically locked in stable compounds, not free to breathe or burn, but processing can release it. Heating regolith to temperatures above 900 degrees Celsius in the presence of hydrogen or carbon causes chemical reactions that pull oxygen atoms from their mineral bonds, producing water vapor or carbon dioxide that can then be processed to separate out pure oxygen. The process requires significant energy input, but the lunar surface provides abundant solar power during the 2-week days. The oxygen extracted from regolith serves multiple critical purposes for the growing lunar colony beyond the obvious necessity of providing breathable air. Liquid oxygen combined with liquid hydrogen creates one of the most efficient chemical rocket fuels, enabling spacecraft to launch from the moon toward other destinations in the solar system. The moon's lower gravity compared to Earth means that reaching orbit requires far less fuel, and producing that fuel locally, rather than shipping it from Earth at enormous cost, makes lunar orbit an ideal way station for deeper space missions. Every kilogram of fuel produced on the moon saves thousands of dollars in launch costs from Earth. Water represents another crucial resource that must be obtained locally for the colony to achieve true self-sufficiency beyond its early dependence on shipments from Earth. The permanently shadowed craters near the lunar poles contain water ice deposited over billions of years by comet impacts, and micrometeorites carrying hydrogen that combined with oxygen in the regolith. This ice has never seen sunlight, never felt temperatures above -160 degrees Celsius, sitting frozen in darkness since before multicellular life existed on Earth. Mining this ancient ice provides water for drinking, for growing crops, for generating oxygen and hydrogen, and for manufacturing processes throughout the colony. The process of extracting ice from polar craters presents unique challenges, the operation occurring in perpetual darkness and extreme cold that makes even the lunar night seem warm by comparison. Rovers equipped with drills and heating elements venture into the shadows, excavating ice-rich regolith and processing it to separate the water. The ice sublimates when heated, turning directly from solid to vapor without melting, and the vapor is captured in cold traps and condensed into liquid water. The excavated regolith is examined for ice content, the richest deposits receiving the most attention, while drier material is discarded or used for other purposes. Transporting water from the polar regions to equatorial habitats, where most early settlement occurs, requires either pipelines, tanker rovers, or establishing habitats near the poles themselves, where water is readily available. Each approach has advantages and disadvantages, with logistics and engineering challenges that must be solved. as extraction scales up. Some planners envision major settlements at the poles, specifically to access water resources, while others prefer equatorial locations for easier Earth communication and accept the cost of transporting water from extraction sites. Beyond oxygen and water, the regolith contains metals that become valuable resources when extracted and refined through industrial processes. Iron comprises roughly 5 to 15% of regolith by weight, depending on location, existing as tiny particles of metallic iron or bound in iron oxide minerals. Aluminum makes up about 7 to 10%, bound in feldspars and other silicate minerals common in lunar rocks. Titanium, calcium, magnesium, and silicon are all present in significant quantities, each offering different properties useful for construction, manufacturing, or chemical processes. Extracting metals from regolith requires processes more complex than obtaining oxygen, involving high temperatures, chemical reagents, or electrical current to separate elements from their compounds. One approach heats regolith with carbon to reduce iron oxides to metallic iron, producing carbon monoxide as a byproduct that can be recycled or processed further. Another technique uses molten salt electrolysis, passing electric current through regolith dissolved in molten salts to separate oxygen and metals. These industrial processes consume substantial energy but produce raw materials that would cost millions of dollars per kilogram to transport from Earth. The iron and aluminum produced from regolith become feedstocks for manufacturing structural components, tools, equipment, and eventually complex machinery as the industrial base develops. Iron can be cast or forged into beams, plates, and structural elements for buildings and vehicles. Aluminum's lighter weight makes it valuable for aerospace applications, though its abundance in regolith is somewhat lower than iron. Combining these metals into alloys creates materials with specific properties suited to different applications, with metallurgy in vacuum and low gravity presenting unique opportunities and challenges compared to Earth-based metalworking. Silicon extracted from regolith serves as the basis for solar panel production, electronic components, and glass manufacturing, enabling the colony to produce its own power generation equipment and to expand independently of Earth's supply chain. The process of purifying silicon to the levels needed for electronics is complex and energy-intensive, but accomplishing it on the Moon eliminates the need to transport fragile solar panels across hundreds of thousands of kilometers. A colony capable of manufacturing its own solar panels can expand its power generation to support growing population and industrial operations in a self-reinforcing cycle of development. Glass production from regolith is relatively straightforward. Melting the material and allowing it to cool produces a volcanic, glass-like substance, similar to basalt. This material can be cast into blocks, drawn into fibers for insulation or reinforcement, or formed into sheets for windows and transparent structures. The glass is not optically perfect in its simplest form, but further processing can create clear glass suitable for habitat viewports or even optical elements for instruments and telescopes. The abundance of silicon and oxygen in regolith makes glass one of the easiest materials to produce in large quantities. Three-dimensional printing with regolith as a feedstock enables construction of complex structures without the need for molds or extensive machining. The regolith is mixed with binding agents or sintered by heating to fuse particles together, then deposited layer by layer to build up structures according to digital designs. Landing pads, roads, building foundations, and protective walls can all be printed directly from local materials, drastically reducing the mass that must be transported from Earth. The technology is proven in terrestrial applications and adapts readily to lunar conditions, though the vacuum environment and temperature extremes require modified approaches. Sintering, heating regolith below its melting point until particles fuse together, creates solid bricks and blocks without the need to fully melt the material. The process requires less energy than complete melting and produces strong, durable building materials suitable for constructing habitats, storage facilities, and protective barriers. Sintered regolith blocks can be interlocked or bonded with regolith mortar to create walls and structures that provide radiation shielding and protection from micrometeorite impacts. The buildings constructed this way are entirely local in their materials, reducing dependence on Earth to essentially zero for basic construction. Completely melting regolith produces a lava-like material that can be cast into complex shapes or drawn into fibers similar to industrial basalt fibers on Earth. This molten regolith flows into molds where it solidifies into structural components with smooth surfaces and precise dimensions. The casting process allows creation of parts too complex to machine or print, with internal channels, varying thicknesses, and specific geometries. The melted regolith cools in vacuum without oxidation or contamination, producing pure basaltic material with consistent properties. The energy requirements for all these extraction and processing operations are substantial, requiring power generation far exceeding what small early habitats need simply for life support and operations. Solar panel farms spread across the surface during lunar day, collecting energy that charges vast battery banks to carry the colony through the 2-week night. Nuclear reactors provide baseline power independent of the day-night cycle, their steady output supporting industrial operations that cannot pause for 2 weeks at a time. The combination of solar and nuclear power creates a robust energy infrastructure capable of supporting growing industrial capability. Helium-3, embedded in the regolith by billions of years of solar wind bombardment, represents a potential future resource for fusion energy, though the technology to utilize it remains under development on Earth. The concentration is extremely low, roughly 10 parts per billion by weight, meaning vast quantities of regolith must be processed to extract meaningful amounts. Proponents argue that helium-3 fusion could provide clean, abundant energy, both on the Moon and when transported to Earth, while skeptics note the immense scale of mining required and the uncertain timeline for fusion technology becoming practical. Regardless, the presence of this isotope adds to the resource inventory available for future utilization. Rare earth elements and other trace materials exist in lunar regolith at concentrations that would be uneconomical to mine on Earth, but might be worth extracting as part of broader regolith processing operations. When processing thousands of tons of regolith for oxygen, water, and structural materials, recovering trace elements adds little additional cost if the extraction can be integrated into existing workflows. These materials might support specialized manufacturing or become export products shipped to Earth or to orbital facilities where they command high prices due to scarcity. The expansion of mining and processing operations proceeds gradually as the colony develops its industrial infrastructure and refines its techniques. Early operations are small-scale and labor-intensive. Rovers and human workers collecting regolith and feeding it into pilot processing facilities that demonstrate concepts and work out practical challenges. As the processes are proven and optimized, automation increases, with robotic systems handling much of the repetitive work of excavation, transport, and feeding material into processors. The goal is eventual full automation of basic resource extraction, freeing human residents to focus on higher-level tasks that require judgment, creativity, and flexibility. The transformation of raw regolith into oxygen, water, metals, and building materials represents the foundation of lunar self-sufficiency, the critical step that changes the Moon from a destination requiring constant supply from Earth to a world capable of supporting its own population. Each ton of material produced locally is a ton that does not need to be launched from Earth at enormous cost. The economics gradually shifting until the Moon begins to export resources rather than only consuming them. This transition takes decades, but represents the path from outpost to true settlement. With oxygen to breathe, water to drink, and building materials to construct new habitats, the next challenge becomes producing food locally rather than depending on shipments from Earth that grow more expensive and less practical as population increases. The greenhouse modules represent some of the most carefully controlled environments on the Moon. Each one a pressurized cylinder where temperature, humidity, light, air composition, and even air movement are precisely managed to support plant growth. Walking into a greenhouse after spending time in the dry, recycled air of the main habitat creates an immediate sensory shift. The air is noticeably more humid, carrying moisture exhaled by plant leaves through transpiration. The temperature is slightly warmer, kept at levels optimal for photosynthesis, rather than merely comfortable for humans. The smell of growing plants fills the space, green and alive in a way that creates a psychological lift beyond any practical benefit. The plants themselves grow in vertical racks that maximize the use of available volume in the cylindrical modules, with crops at multiple levels, from floor to ceiling. This vertical farming approach produces far more food per square meter than traditional horizontal agriculture would allow. Essential when every cubic meter of pressurized space requires substantial resources to create and maintain. LED lighting arrays between the racks emit light precisely tuned to wavelengths optimal for photosynthesis, mostly red and blue spectrum, with minimal green light that plants absorb less efficiently. The lighting makes everything appear slightly purple. The human eye, not evolved to interpret scenes illuminated by such specific wavelengths. The growing medium varies depending on the crop and the system used, with hydroponics and aeroponics both proving more efficient than traditional soil-based agriculture for lunar applications. In hydroponic systems, plant roots extend into nutrient-rich water that circulates continuously, delivering minerals and oxygen directly to where they are needed. The water is carefully monitored and adjusted to maintain proper pH and nutrient concentrations, with sensors providing continuous feedback that allows automated systems to make corrections. Aeroponics suspends roots in air and mists them periodically with nutrient solution, using even less water than hydroponics, while providing excellent oxygenation. Lunar regolith, treated to remove toxic perchlorates and amended with organic matter from composted plant waste, can serve as a growing substrate in hybrid systems that combine some benefits of soil with the efficiency of hydroponics. The regolith provides physical structure for roots to anchor in, while nutrients are delivered through irrigation rather than being naturally present in the medium. Research into regolith-based agriculture continues, seeking to determine what combination of treatments, amendments, and crops produces the best results with the least input of resources from Earth or the colony's limited manufacturing capacity. The crops selected for lunar agriculture favor fast-growing varieties that produce high nutritional value relative to the space and resources they require. Leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, and kale grow quickly and provide vitamins and minerals essential for human health. Tomatoes, peppers, and herbs add variety to the diet and grow well in controlled environments. Dwarf wheat and rice varieties provide carbohydrates, though grains generally require more space and longer growing cycles than vegetables. Legumes like beans and peas contribute protein and fix nitrogen that enriches the growing medium, reducing the need to supply nitrogen fertilizer. Potatoes represent one of the most efficient crops in terms of calories produced per unit of space and growing time. The tubers developing underground, or in the case of hydroponics, in opaque growing containers, while the plants photosynthesize above. A single potato plant can produce several kilograms of food in 3 to 4 months, the yield making potatoes a staple crop despite the space their vines require. The plants are hardy and tolerant of varying conditions, recovering well from minor problems that might kill more sensitive crops. Their familiarity also provides psychological comfort, a connection to Earth food traditions in an alien environment. Protein production beyond what legumes and vegetables provide creates challenges since bringing livestock to the moon is impractical and inefficient. Fish raised in aquaponics systems offer one solution: tilapia or similar species living in tanks where their waste fertilizes plants while the plants clean the water the fish require. The system creates a symbiotic loop where minimal input produces both plant and animal protein. The fish grow relatively quickly and tolerate varying conditions well, making them suitable for closed-loop systems where maintaining perfect parameters proves difficult. Insects farmed for protein provide another option that disturbs some cultural sensibilities, but offers remarkable efficiency compared to conventional livestock. Crickets, in particular, convert feed to body mass at ratios far superior to cattle, chickens, or pigs, requiring minimal space and water while producing protein-rich food that can be ground into flour or processed into more familiar forms. The closed-loop nature of the lunar colony makes such efficiency essential, with every calorie of feed representing resources that could otherwise support human consumption directly. Insects fit into the waste stream naturally, consuming crop trimmings and other organic matter unsuitable for human food. Algae and cyanobacteria grown in transparent tubes filled with nutrient solution provide yet another protein source, while simultaneously producing oxygen through photosynthesis. Spirulina and chlorella both contain complete proteins with all essential amino acids, along with vitamins and minerals that supplement the diet. The taste is not particularly appealing to most people, but when processed into smoothies, baked goods, or other foods, the nutritional benefits make the slight off flavor acceptable. The dual-purpose nature of algae production, yielding both food and oxygen makes it attractive despite requiring dedicated growing space and lighting. The low gravity affects how plants grow in ways both subtle and significant, with roots having more difficulty sensing which direction is down when gravity's pull is so much weaker. On Earth, roots grow downward in response to gravity, a process called gravitropism that ensures they penetrate soil to access water and nutrients. In lunar gravity, this response is weakened and roots may grow in less organized patterns. Genetic modification or selection of varieties that rely less heavily on gravitropism may become necessary as agriculture scales up and efficiency becomes critical. Stems and leaves also respond differently to reduced gravity, with less structural support needed to hold them upright, but still requiring enough strength to avoid damage from air movement or handling. The evolutionary pressures that shaped plant structure on Earth do not all apply here, and over multiple generations of growth and seed production in lunar conditions, plants may begin to adapt in unexpected ways. These adaptations are studied carefully, both for their scientific interest and to understand whether they enhance or reduce agricultural productivity. Pollination must be managed actively, since most crops rely on insects, wind, or other mechanisms to transfer pollen between flowers, and enclosed greenhouses lack natural pollinators. Hand pollination using small brushes to transfer pollen from flower to flower is labor-intensive but reliable for crops like tomatoes and peppers that require pollination to produce fruit. Some planners propose introducing bees into the larger greenhouse modules once the colony reaches sufficient size to maintain a healthy hive. The bees providing pollination services while producing honey as a bonus. The closed environment raises concerns about disease or colony collapse with no replacement bees available, requiring careful management and contingency planning. The carbon dioxide concentration in greenhouse modules is maintained at levels higher than the main habitat, typically around 1,000 to 1,500 parts per million, compared to 400 parts per million in normal air. Plants photosynthesize more efficiently at elevated carbon dioxide levels, converting more of the light energy they receive into growth. The carbon dioxide is supplied partly from human respiration. The main habitat's air is vented into greenhouses periodically, and partly from composting organic waste that releases carbon dioxide as microorganisms break down plant material. The cycle connects the different life support systems in ways that mirror natural ecosystems on Earth. Water recycling in the agricultural modules achieves even higher efficiency than in the main habitat, with transpiration from plant leaves collected as condensation on cooling surfaces and returned to the irrigation system. Evaporation and transpiration create the humidity you feel when entering the greenhouse, the air thick with moisture that plants have released and that will be recaptured rather than vented to space. Sensors monitor moisture levels constantly, preventing excess that could lead to mold or fungal growth, while ensuring plants receive adequate water without waste. Lighting during the 2-week lunar night comes entirely from LEDs, powered by battery banks or nuclear generators. The energy cost substantial, but necessary to maintain continuous crop production. During lunar day, some greenhouse modules might be positioned on the surface with transparent sections that admit direct sunlight. The intensity requiring filtering to prevent damage to plants adapted to Earth's atmospheric attenuation. The trade-off between using free solar energy and protecting plants from excessive radiation and heat requires careful engineering, with some designs proposing hybrid approaches that use sunlight during portions of lunar day and artificial light during night. The growing cycles are managed to provide continuous harvest rather than seasonal gluts and shortages, with plantings staggered so that some plants are always ready for harvest, while others are just sprouting, and still others are in mid-growth. This rotation requires careful planning and record keeping, the agricultural managers essentially running a perpetual harvest operation. The steady supply of fresh food contributes to both nutrition and morale. The psychological benefits of eating something freshly picked rather than rehydrated from storage cannot be overstated. Achieving complete nutritional self-sufficiency remains a multi-year goal requiring several thousand square meters of growing space per person, depending on the efficiency of the systems and the variety of crops maintained. Early colonies supplement locally grown food with supplies from Earth, particularly proteins, fats, and certain vitamins difficult to produce in sufficient quantities with limited space. The goal is not achieved in the first years, but approached gradually. The percentage of food produced locally increasing as agricultural infrastructure expands and techniques improve. The knowledge gained from lunar agriculture has applications beyond the moon, informing efforts to grow food in other challenging environments, including Mars missions, Earth-based, controlled environment agriculture, and resource-limited communities anywhere. The closed-loop approaches, the lighting optimization, the water recycling, the integration of multiple systems into functioning ecosystems. All of these lessons transfer to contexts where efficiency and reliability matter more than the abundant resources and forgiving conditions of Earth's biosphere. As the colony's population grows and agricultural production scales up, the compact surface habitats prove insufficient, and expansion moves toward utilizing the moon's natural underground spaces. The discovery of extensive lava tubes beneath the lunar surface changed the long-term planning for lunar settlement more dramatically than any single technological development possibly could. These tubes, formed billions of years ago when molten lava flowed beneath a solidified crust, create ready-made spaces of extraordinary size that only require sealing and pressurizing to become habitable. Orbital radar surveys identified the most promising tubes by detecting subsurface voids, gaps in the otherwise solid rock that show up in the data as echo-free zones. Some of these tubes measure hundreds of meters in width and extend for kilometers in length, their ceilings strong enough to remain intact for billions of years, despite meteorite impacts and occasional moonquakes. Accessing a lava tube from the surface requires either drilling through the ceiling, a task complicated by not knowing exact tube depth and ceiling thickness, or finding a collapsed section where the ceiling has already failed. These collapsed sections, called skylights, appear as openings in the surface that reveal the darkness of the tube below. Robotic explorers, lowered through skylights on tethers, send back images and measurements that reveal the interior dimensions and confirm that the tube extends far beyond the entry point. The first human entry into a major lava tube represents a milestone comparable to the first moon landing itself, opening a new chapter in lunar exploration and settlement. The interior of a lava tube is absolutely dark until lights are brought in, the blackness complete and profound in a way that few Earth environments can match. When illumination does flood the space, It reveals a cathedral-like volume with a smoothly curved ceiling arcing overhead, and a floor that may be flat or rough, depending on how the lava flowed and cooled in the tube's final active moments. The walls show flow patterns frozen in the rock, swirls and ripples that mark where molten material moved before solidifying billions of years ago. Dust and small rocks litter the floor, some fallen from the ceiling over geological time, and others, perhaps, ejected from distant impacts on the surface above. The ceiling height in major tubes can exceed 50 meters, creating a sense of vast space that feels almost unlimited after the cramped cylindrical modules of surface habitats. The width sometimes reaches 200 meters or more, offering a single enclosed volume larger than many stadiums on Earth. The length stretches on beyond where lights can illuminate, some tubes continuing for tens of kilometers, with only minor variations in cross-section along their path. The stability is remarkable. These structures have endured for billions of years and will continue indefinitely, absent a direct impact massive enough to collapse the ceiling. The temperature inside a sealed lava tube away from any openings stabilizes at roughly -20 degrees Celsius. Cold by Earth standards, but far more stable than the 300-degree swing between lunar day and night on the surface. This stability makes climate control vastly easier, requiring only enough heating to raise the temperature 40 degrees to comfortable levels, rather than fighting against extremes in both directions. The rock itself provides thermal mass that buffers against short-term temperature fluctuations, storing heat and releasing it slowly in ways that smooth out the thermal environment. Sealing a lava tube to make it habitable involves closing any skylights or openings with airlocks that allow access while preventing atmospheric loss. The tube walls themselves are essentially airtight, solid basaltic rock with minimal porosity, requiring no treatment to contain pressure. Once sealed, the tube can be pressurized to Earth normal atmospheric pressure, creating a vast enclosed volume suitable for habitation and agriculture on a scale impossible in surface modules. The first pressurization is done gradually, monitoring for any leaks or weak points in the seals, the pressure increasing over days to ensure stability. The radiation protection provided by tens of meters of solid rock above the tube is nearly complete, blocking galactic cosmic rays and solar particle events that pose hazards to people living on or near the surface. Inside the tube, radiation levels drop to near-Earth levels, eliminating the long-term health risks that make extended surface habitation problematic. This protection becomes especially important for children and pregnant women, for whom radiation exposure carries greater risks than for adults on short-term assignments. Protection from micrometeorite impacts is similarly complete, the rock ceiling stopping any object that would penetrate surface habitats or damage equipment. The constant rain of tiny particles that bombard the lunar surface, each one moving at thousands of meters per second and packing substantial kinetic energy, simply cannot reach the tube interior. Equipment can be operated and stored without the armoring and redundancy required on the surface, reducing mass and complexity throughout the settlement's infrastructure. The acoustic environment inside a pressurized lava tube differs from both the dead silence of vacuum and the familiar sound of Earth environments. Sounds reflect off the hard rock walls, creating echoes and reverberations that can make large tubes seem even more vast. The quality of sound changes with distance from the source, voices fading not just because of distance, but because the irregular walls and floor scatter sound in complex ways. Music played in a lava tube takes on cathedral-like acoustics, and some residents propose dedicating sections of larger tubes to performance spaces that take advantage of these properties. Building structures inside the lava tube begins with the floor, which often requires leveling before construction can proceed efficiently. Crushed regolith mixed with binding agents creates a level surface that can support buildings and equipment, the floor preparation proceeding section by section as the usable area expands. Some designs propose multi-story buildings along the tube walls, creating neighborhoods with streets and common areas between them. Others envision platforms suspended from the ceiling, taking advantage of the vertical space in ways impossible in low-ceiling surface habitats. The first buildings inside tubes might be prefabricated modules similar to surface habitats, assembled from components manufactured on the surface or brought from Earth. As the industrial base develops and regolith processing scales up, construction shifts to using locally produced materials, sintered regolith blocks, cast basalt structural elements, and glass panels manufactured from lunar silicon. The buildings inside the tube do not need to resist vacuum or provide radiation shielding, since the tube itself handles both functions, allowing construction to be lighter and more open than surface architecture requires. Lighting the interior requires substantial energy, since no natural sunlight penetrates to the tube. But the artificial lighting can be designed to mimic Earth's day-night cycle, and even to simulate sky color and weather effects. Programmable LED panels on the ceiling create an artificial sky that can show blue sky during the day, sunset colors in evening, and star-like points at night. The psychological benefits of this simulated sky are significant for long-term residents, who otherwise would live in perpetual artificial light. Some residents request programming that mimics their home regions on Earth, while others prefer pure lighting cycles without the illusion of sky. Agriculture expands dramatically when moved into lava tubes, the vast available space allowing fields of crops rather than cramped vertical racks. The growing area can be organized horizontally, with plants at ground level beneath overhead lighting, creating scenes that resemble farm fields despite being underground and artificially lit. The lower density of cultivation requires more space per kilogram of food produced, but reduces labor and complexity compared to intensive vertical farming. Walking through these underground fields creates a surreal experience. Row after row of growing plants, extending into the distance, the ceiling far above showing artificial sky. The whole scene, impossible yet functioning. Parks and recreation areas become feasible in lava tubes, with enough space to include trees, grass, walking paths, and open areas for sports or gatherings. The low gravity makes basketball with hoops 3 meters high still allow spectacular dunks, and football fields can be smaller, since every kick sends the ball farther than on Earth. Swimming pools present engineering challenges, with water surface tension behaving differently in low gravity. But solutions exist, and the psychological benefit of swimming makes the effort worthwhile for many planners. Manufacturing facilities move underground as well, taking advantage of the controlled environment and abundant space for equipment and material storage. Regolith processing, metal refining, fabrication, and assembly all benefit from being inside, where temperature is stable and where dust contamination from the surface is eliminated. The factories can be noisy without disturbing residential areas if zoning is planned carefully. The vast tube providing enough space to separate incompatible uses by hundreds of meters. Expansion within a tube proceeds along its length, and sometimes through connected side tubes that branch off from the main passage. Exploration of newly accessed sections must proceed carefully, checking for ceiling stability and floor hazards before committing to occupy the space. Mapping the full extent of major tube systems takes years, the exploration revealing variations in geometry and occasional obstructions where ancient lava dammed up or where ceiling collapses blocked passages. The total available volume in the largest tube systems potentially equals thousands of surface habitat modules, enough for populations in the hundreds of thousands if fully developed. The psychological impact of living underground in artificial light requires study and management. As humans evolved under open skies and natural day-night cycles that the tube environment cannot fully replicate, some residents adapt easily, finding the stable conditions and protection comforting. Others struggle with the lack of natural views and the knowledge that hundreds of meters of rock separate them from the surface. Scheduled surface excursions and viewport observation areas help, as does the artificial sky programming, but individual responses vary. Selection and support programs must account for these differences, matching people to environments they can tolerate long-term. The transition from surface habitats to underground cities happens gradually as tubes are discovered, accessed, sealed, and built out over decades. The surface settlement remains important for solar power collection, communications with Earth, and access to locations not connected by underground passages. Some residents maintain homes both on the surface and in tubes, working on the surface during lunar day and retreating underground during night, or when solar storms threaten. The two environments complement each other, neither completely replacing the other in the settlement pattern that emerges. As underground cities grow and multiple settlement nodes emerge across the lunar landscape, connecting them requires transportation infrastructure that can handle both human travel and cargo movement across distances of hundreds or thousands of kilometers. Moving through the pressurized corridors of the underground city requires only gentle pushes and an occasional grab of a handhold to control your trajectory in the low gravity. The ease of movement makes walking almost optional. Many residents push off and glide between destinations, stopping only when they arrive or need to change direction. Bicycles adapted for low gravity become popular for longer trips through the tunnels. The reduced weight making pedaling almost effortless, while the wheels provide traction for speed that gliding cannot match. The bikes are designed with large, soft tires that provide cushioning and grip on the various surfaces that floor different sections of the settlement. For travel on the surface between settlements or out to mining sites and construction projects, the environment becomes far less forgiving and requires vehicles that provide life support, radiation protection, and resistance to the temperature extremes. The rovers used for these journeys are pressurized, allowing crew to travel in comfortable shirt-sleeve conditions rather than bulky spacesuits. The interiors resemble small vans, with seats for a crew of 4 to 6 and cargo space for equipment and supplies. Large windows provide visibility, though the harsh lighting conditions on the lunar surface sometimes make navigation difficult when shadows are absolutely black and sunlit areas blazingly bright. The rover's wheels are notable for their size and design, each one standing nearly as tall as a person and constructed from flexible metal mesh rather than rubber that would crack in the temperature extremes. The mesh deforms over obstacles and springs back, providing suspension and traction without the need for pneumatic tires that would complicate maintenance and pose failure risks. The large diameter helps the rover roll over rocks and through craters that would stop smaller wheels, though the low gravity reduces the force needed to pull the vehicle even over rough terrain. Traveling across the lunar surface at speeds rarely exceeding 30 kilometers per hour, the journey from one settlement to another can take hours or days, depending on distance and terrain. The rover's range is limited by electrical charge in the battery packs, typically allowing 100 to 200 kilometers of travel before needing to recharge at a station or deploy portable solar panels to collect energy. During the 2-week lunar day, sunlight is abundant and charging happens relatively quickly. But during the 2-week night, charging either requires very long waits under Earthlight or access to prepared charging stations with stored power. The roads connecting settlements start as simple, cleared tracks where the largest rocks have been removed and the regolith compacted by repeated travel, creating paths visible from orbit as slightly lighter lines across the surface. The clearing is done by rovers dragging rake-like tools that smooth the worst irregularities and push aside the largest obstacles. Over time, the most used routes become more developed, with regolith sintered or melted to create hardened surfaces that reduce rolling resistance and prevent dust from being kicked up by passing vehicles. The paved routes are expensive to create, but pay dividends in reduced travel time and vehicle wear. Rail systems present an attractive alternative to road-based transport for cargo and possibly passenger service between major settlements. The low gravity makes derailment less of a risk, since the forces involved are smaller and simple guidance rails can keep wheeled bogies on track with minimal infrastructure. Electric power delivered through the rails eliminates the need for onboard batteries or power generation, allowing cargo carriers to be simpler and lighter. The rails can be built from regolith-derived iron or aluminum, produced locally rather than shipped from Earth at great cost. Automated cargo carriers run on the rail systems without human crew, hauling regolith from mining sites to processing facilities and returning with manufactured goods or empty to begin the cycle again. The trains run continuously during both lunar day and night, powered by electrical supply from solar or nuclear sources along the route. Scheduling becomes critical as traffic increases, multiple carriers sharing the same tracks and requiring coordination to avoid collisions at intersections or sidings where trains can pass each other. Computer systems manage the scheduling, optimizing load distribution and minimizing empty return trips. Passenger traffic between settlements uses faster, more comfortable vehicles than the cargo carriers, with pressurized cabins that provide amenities for trips that might last many hours. Seats can recline for sleeping during overnight journeys, and small galleys provide food and drink. The low gravity makes motion sickness less common than on Earth, but the gentle swaying and occasional bumps create a rhythm that some find soothing and others disturbing. Windows offer views of the passing landscape, though the scenery is grey and monotonous, except where crater walls or mountains provide relief. The Terminator Zone, where day meets night, becomes a favoured path for some routes, the twilight conditions providing intermediate temperatures, and the visual interest of the sun on the horizon. Following the terminator allows solar panels to collect energy during travel, while avoiding the worst of the dayside heat, though the slow motion of the terminator means the rovers must match its walking pace movement to stay in the twilight zone. This strategy works for trips that align with the terminator's path, but not for those requiring travel perpendicular to it. Launch and landing facilities for rockets become transportation hubs. The low gravity and lack of atmosphere, making access to orbit much easier from the Moon than from Earth. Lunar orbit sits only about 2 kilometers per second away in velocity terms, compared to the 8 kilometers per second needed to reach low Earth orbit. This reduced requirement means that single-stage rockets can operate between lunar surface and orbit, and that fuel production on the Moon makes spacecraft that never visit Earth economically viable. Passengers and cargo can transfer between surface settlements and orbital facilities that serve as waypoints for journeys to Mars, asteroids, or back to Earth. Electromagnetic launch systems, sometimes called mass drivers or railguns, present a potential method for launching cargo to orbit without burning rocket fuel. These systems use magnetic acceleration to launch payloads down long tracks, building speed gradually until they reach the velocity needed for orbit. The lack of atmosphere means no aerodynamic heating or drag during the launch, allowing payloads to be launched at full orbital velocity from the surface. The technology requires substantial infrastructure and works only for cargo that can tolerate high acceleration, not for human passengers, but for raw materials or manufactured goods. The efficiency is unmatched. Traffic management becomes necessary as the transportation network grows and multiple routes intersect or share facilities. Ground control coordinates launches from rocket pads to prevent debris from one launch interfering with others nearby. Rail traffic management prevents collisions and optimizes scheduling to minimize travel times and maximize throughput. Road traffic is less regulated since the vast distances between vehicles make coordination less critical except near settlements where multiple routes converge. The communication infrastructure supports real-time position tracking and automated collision avoidance for all vehicle types. Maintenance facilities along major routes provide repair services, charging stations, and emergency shelter for travelers who experience vehicle problems far from settlements. These facilities are spaced roughly 50 to 100 kilometers apart on the most traveled routes, close enough that a rover with partial power can limp to the nearest one if issues arise. The facilities are minimally staffed or operated remotely, with spare parts and diagnostic equipment available for common repairs. Major damage requires waiting for a recovery vehicle to tow the disabled rover to a larger settlement with full repair capabilities. The navigation on the Moon is simpler than on Earth in some ways, and more challenging in others. GPS-like positioning systems in lunar orbit provide accurate location data to any vehicle with a receiver. The precision sufficient for navigation across featureless Maria, where landmarks are sparse. The lack of magnetic field means compasses do not work, though this is irrelevant when satellite positioning is available. The challenge comes from the harsh lighting that creates confusing shadows, and from the relatively close horizon on the Moon's small diameter, making distant landmarks disappear below the curve of the surface sooner than on Earth. Exploratory expeditions venture beyond the established settlement network, traveling hundreds of kilometers to investigate potential ice deposits, unusual geological features, or sites for future expansion. These expeditions carry sufficient supplies for weeks away from support, the rovers serving as mobile habitats during the journey. The thrill of exploration draws certain personalities who find satisfaction in seeing terrain no human has visited, in naming newly discovered features, and in expanding the frontier of human knowledge and presence. The risks are real. A breakdown far from help could be fatal, but precautions and redundancy reduce the danger to acceptable levels. The expansion of transportation infrastructure parallels and enables the growth of lunar industry and manufacturing. The ability to move materials and products efficiently being essential for economic viability. The manufacturing facilities occupying sections of the underground lava tubes operate in an environment that combines the advantages of vacuum, low gravity, and stable temperature in ways impossible to achieve in earthbound factories. The vacuum allows processes that would be contaminated by atmospheric gases on Earth to proceed with exceptional purity. Alloys can be mixed and metals refined without oxidation that would weaken or alter their properties. The stable temperature eliminates thermal cycling that stresses equipment and affects product consistency. The low gravity enables casting of large structures that would collapse under their own weight at Earth gravity before solidifying. Metal refining begins with regolith delivered from mining sites, the raw material processed to extract iron, aluminum, titanium, and other elements through a combination of heat, chemical reactions, and electrical current. The molten metal flows from refining furnaces into molds, where it cools into ingots that become feedstock for further manufacturing. The quality of the metal depends on controlling impurities and ensuring consistent composition. Challenges that are simpler in vacuum, where fewer contaminants can enter the process. The ingots stack in warehouses, each one representing tons of material that would cost millions to transport from Earth. Fabrication shops machine and shape the metal ingots into components for construction, vehicles, equipment, and countless other applications. Computer-controlled machines cut, drill, bend, and join metal with precision measured in microns, producing parts that fit together perfectly when assembled. The machines themselves are imported from Earth initially, but increasingly are manufactured on the Moon as the industrial base develops the capability to build copies of itself. This self-replication is a key milestone on the path to true independence from Earth's industrial capacity. Three-dimensional printing with metal powder creates complex components that would be difficult or impossible to machine, building up structures layer by layer from digital designs. The process works particularly well in vacuum, where oxidation does not interfere with the sintering of metal particles. Spacecraft components, habitat fittings, custom tools, and replacement parts all emerge from the printers, each one perfectly suited to its purpose and produced without molds or extensive machining. The ability to manufacture parts on demand reduces the need for vast inventories of spares, saving storage space and reducing dependence on shipments from Earth. Solar panels manufactured from lunar silicon begin to replace imported panels as the production process is refined and scaled up. The silicon is purified through chemical processes until it reaches the grade needed for photovoltaic cells, then processed into wafers that are treated and assembled into panels. The efficiency of lunar manufactured panels improves over multiple generations as techniques are perfected, approaching and eventually matching the performance of Earth-made panels. Each square meter of locally produced panel reduces launch mass from Earth and brings the colony closer to energy independence. Electronics manufacturing requires exceptional purity and precision, the production of circuit boards and components being among the most demanding industrial processes. The vacuum environment helps with certain steps, like thin film deposition and chemical vapor deposition, that benefit from the absence of atmospheric contamination. Starting with simple circuits and progressing to more complex systems over years of development, the lunar electronics industry eventually produces computers, sensors, and control systems that meet or exceed the reliability of Earth-manufactured equivalents. This capability is crucial for true independence, since modern systems depend entirely on functioning electronics. Spacecraft assembly in lunar orbit or on the surface becomes a major industry as the infrastructure develops. The Moon serving as a construction yard for missions to Mars and beyond. The low gravity and abundant raw materials make the Moon an ideal location for building large vehicles that would be prohibitively expensive to launch from Earth's deep gravity well. Components manufactured in surface factories are transported to orbit, where they are joined into complete spacecraft. The vessels built here include cargo haulers, passenger ships, fuel tankers, and exploration craft, each one expanding human presence deeper into the solar system. Fuel production for spacecraft becomes a major export from the Moon. Liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen manufactured from water electrolysis, filling tanks that are launched to orbital depots. Spacecraft departing for Mars or the asteroid belt refuel at these depots, taking on propellant produced on the Moon at a fraction of the cost of bringing it from Earth. The fuel production facilities operate around the clock, electrolyzing water, liquefying the resulting gases, and storing them in insulated tanks until needed. The economics favor lunar fuel production once the initial infrastructure is built, the lower launch costs quickly recovering the investment. Industrial byproducts are managed carefully in the closed environment, with nothing wasted if it can be recycled or repurposed. The oxygen released when extracting metals from regolith is captured for life support or fuel production. The slag from refining processes is examined for useful trace elements before being used as aggregate in concrete or road surfacing. Heat from industrial processes is recovered where possible, used to warm habitats or to preheat materials entering subsequent processing steps. The efficiency demanded by the resource-limited environment drives innovation that often finds applications back on Earth. Manufacturing in low gravity enables products impossible to create in Earth's gravity, objects that would collapse under their own weight before solidifying, or that require conditions only achievable in near weightlessness. Large optical elements for telescopes can be cast or spun into precise shapes without the sagging that gravity would cause. Ultra-pure crystals for electronics or scientific research grow larger and with fewer defects than Earth-grown equivalents. Certain alloys and composite materials form with properties unattainable when gravity causes settling of components during production. These specialty products command premium prices if transported to Earth or orbital facilities. Repair and refurbishment facilities maintain the colony's equipment and vehicles, extending their useful lives through maintenance and upgrades that prevent premature replacement. The harsh lunar environment, vacuum, temperature extremes, Abrasive dust takes a toll on anything exposed to it, and regular servicing prevents minor issues from becoming critical failures. The maintenance facilities stock spare parts, diagnostic equipment, and skilled technicians capable of diagnosing problems and implementing fixes. The culture of repair over replacement develops naturally in an environment where bringing new equipment from Earth is expensive and time-consuming. Quality control throughout the manufacturing process is critical, since failures can have consequences far more severe than on Earth, where replacement parts and expert help are readily available. Every component is inspected and tested before being put into service, with documentation tracing each item back through its production history. Statistical process control monitors production runs for drift or variation that might indicate problems before defects reach finished products. The standards are stringent, but the cost of failure justifies the effort to maintain them. The industrial workforce grows as manufacturing expands, with specialists in metallurgy, chemistry, mechanical engineering, electronics, and systems integration, all finding employment in the developing factories. Training programs educate workers in the specific challenges of manufacturing in lunar conditions, the knowledge base expanding through experience and experimentation. Some workers arrive from Earth with relevant experience, while others are educated on the Moon. The first generation of lunar-trained technicians and engineers beginning to outnumber Earth immigrants as the decades pass. Automation increases as the industrial base matures, with robotic systems handling repetitive tasks and hazardous operations that would expose human workers to unnecessary risk. The robots are themselves manufactured on the Moon once the capability exists, each generation more sophisticated and capable than the last. Human workers shift towards supervisory roles, troubleshooting, maintenance, and programming as the robots take on routine production. The employment patterns evolve, but human creativity and judgment remain essential for innovation and for handling situations that automated systems cannot address. Industrial expansion follows population growth in a reinforcing cycle. More people require more manufacturing capacity to support them, and more manufacturing creates employment that attracts more people. The balance point where growth becomes self-sustaining remains elusive for decades, the colony still requiring some inputs from Earth, even as it develops impressive capabilities. The trend line is clear, though. Each year sees increasing self-sufficiency and decreasing dependence on Earth's resources. The connection to Earth remains strong, despite growing independence. The communication links that tie the colony to humanity's homeworld, carrying more than just technical data. The radio signals that connect the lunar colony to Earth travel at the speed of light across the 380,000-kilometer gulf, taking about 1.3 seconds to complete the one-way journey. This delay creates a 2.6-second gap between speaking and hearing a response, a pause just long enough to be noticeable without being so long that conversation becomes impossible. The rhythm of communication adapts, pauses becoming natural points where you wait for the response you know is coming, the slight awkwardness fading after a few exchanges as your brain adjusts to the new timing of dialogue. Video calls home to family and friends occur daily for most residents. The ability to see loved ones' faces and to share experiences, maintaining emotional bonds across the distance that would otherwise strain under the separation. The bandwidth is sufficient for high-definition video with minimal compression, faces appearing clear and movements fluid, despite the vast distance the data travels. Some families establish routines, daily check-ins at the same time, weekly longer conversations, special calls for holidays or milestones. The constancy helps both those who left and those who stayed behind maintain the relationship through what could easily become an unbridgeable gap. Children talking to grandparents on Earth explain what low gravity feels like, how their school modules look, what they learned about lunar geology that day. The grandparents share news about events on Earth, weather and seasons that the moon never experiences. Family gatherings that the lunar residents participate in via video. The calls are treasured on both ends, recorded and rewatched. The importance of maintaining family ties, recognized by mission planners who allocate bandwidth generously to personal communication alongside the technical data that flows between worlds. The delay becomes part of the experience rather than a frustration. The slight gap between question and answer, allowing time to think before responding in ways that instant communication sometimes discourages. Conversations feel more deliberate, less likely to be interrupted or rushed, the pace encouraging thoughtful exchange rather than rapid-fire back and forth. Some people prefer the enforced pause, finding it reduces conflict by preventing the instant angry response that might escalate an argument before cooler heads can prevail. Entertainment from Earth streams to the lunar colony continuously. Movies and television shows and music filling leisure hours with content that provides connection to Earth culture and simply passes time in pleasant ways. The delay is irrelevant for pre-recorded content, and the colony's servers cache popular items locally so that streaming does not tie up communication bandwidth unnecessarily. Live events like sports matches or concerts are watched with the few-second delay that no one consciously notices once the event is underway. The shared experience of watching Earth events creates a link to the planet's cultural life, despite the physical separation. News from Earth keeps residents informed about political developments, scientific discoveries, and events that affect billions of people living on the home planet. The perspective from the moon lends a certain detachment, the concerns that dominate Earth headlines sometimes seeming parochial or trivial when viewed from this remove. Other times, events on Earth feel painfully relevant. Climate change that makes portions of the planet less habitable drives some of the motivation for lunar settlement, and watching the struggle play out creates mixed feelings of sadness and vindication. The communication infrastructure includes multiple satellites in lunar orbit, ensuring continuous coverage even when Earth's position relative to the moon creates line-of-sight challenges. The satellites relay signals between the moon's far side, where Earth is never visible, and the near side, where Earth hangs constantly in the sky. Ground stations on the near side maintain the primary links to Earth, their large dish antennas tracking the planet's position as it moves through its phases. Redundancy is built into every level of the system, multiple paths for data to flow, ensuring that communication does not fail even if individual components break down. Data transmission includes far more than personal communication and entertainment, with scientific findings, engineering reports, and operational updates flowing constantly to Earth. Lunar research contributes to understanding planetary formation, the early solar system, and processes relevant to physics, chemistry, and astronomy. The data is valuable not just to mission planners, but to the broader scientific community. Publications and conferences sharing findings that emerge from unique conditions and perspectives available only on the Moon. The psychological importance of maintaining Earth connections cannot be overstated for long-term residents who must balance their commitment to building a lunar society with the emotional pull of the world where they were born. Some handle the distance easily, finding fulfillment in the pioneering work and forming close bonds within the lunar community. Others struggle with homesickness, the video calls sometimes making the distance feel greater rather than lessening it by highlighting what they are missing. Support systems help manage these feelings. Therapists available for consultation via the same communication links that enable other connections. Earth, hanging in the lunar sky, provides a constant physical reminder of home. The blue and white planet, more prominent in the Moon's sky than the Moon appears from Earth. The phases Earth goes through: new Earth when the Sun is between Moon and Earth, crescent and half and gibbous as the angle changes, full Earth when the Moon is between Sun and Earth, create a monthly cycle that parallels the day-night timing. During lunar night, when Earth is full, the reflected sunlight illuminates the landscape with a blue glow that makes night work possible without artificial lighting in open areas. Some residents report feeling comforted by Earth's constant presence overhead, knowing that looking up at any time shows the home planet in the same position it occupied yesterday and will occupy tomorrow. Others find the unchanging position disconcerting after a lifetime where the Moon rose and set, moved across the sky, and told time through its position. Children born on the Moon will grow up with Earth as a fixture in their sky, never rising or setting, always there in its changing phases, but constant in its location. Cultural events are sometimes synchronized between Earth and Moon, live concerts or ceremonies happening simultaneously, with audiences on both worlds watching together, despite the light speed delay. New Year celebrations mark the calendar moment in coordinated fashion. Though the time zone differences mean different lunar settlements might celebrate at different moments, depending on which Earth region they maintain strongest ties to. The shared participation reinforces the connection, reminding both populations that they are still one species despite the growing physical separation. The relationship between Earth and Moon evolves as the lunar population grows and develops its own identity distinct from any Earth culture. Early in settlement, the Moon is simply an outpost, every resident an Earth native, living temporarily in an exotic location before returning home. As time passes and children are born on the Moon, as industries develop and the population becomes self-sustaining, the dynamic shifts toward partnership rather than dependence. Some on Earth view this with pride, others with concern about losing control over the lunar colonies. Questions of governance and political relationship come to the fore as the lunar population develops its own interests that sometimes diverge from Earth governments or corporations. Who owns the Moon's resources? Who makes laws governing lunar residents? Can settlements declare independence, or do they remain subject to Earth authorities? The answers develop gradually, through negotiation, precedent, and occasionally conflict as the balance point between colonial oversight and local autonomy is sought. The communication links carry these political discussions alongside the personal and technical traffic. Trade relationships develop as the Moon begins producing goods valuable to Earth. Fuel for orbital facilities, spacecraft assembled in lunar orbit, ultra-pure materials manufactured in vacuum. Earth provides goods the Moon cannot yet produce efficiently: certain electronics, specialized equipment, luxury items, and, in times of shortage, supplemental food supplies. The economic interdependence creates incentive for both worlds to maintain positive relations, even when political tensions arise over questions of autonomy and control. The communication lag, slight as it is compared to Mars or the outer planets, still means that lunar settlements must handle most decisions locally, rather than waiting for Earth approval. This practical necessity drives the development of local decision-making structures, even when formal authority technically resides elsewhere. The delay ensures that people on the Moon become accustomed to solving problems themselves, relying on their own judgment and building confidence in their ability to manage their affairs. Looking through the window of your quarters toward Earth, the planet appears perhaps 3 times larger than the Moon appears from Earth's surface. Weather patterns swirl visibly across the blue oceans, and white clouds the outlines of continents, shifting as Earth rotates through its daily cycle. You can sometimes spot the bright flash of lightning in storm systems, or the dark areas where night currently covers portions of the surface. The connection feels tangible when Earth is visible, the home planet close enough to see in detail, yet far enough that returning requires planning and resources. Some residents find themselves spending significant time at the observation windows, watching Earth go through its phases and its daily rotation, finding comfort or contemplation in the view. Others avoid the windows, preferring not to dwell on the distance or the life they left behind, focusing instead on their work and their relationships here. The different responses reflect individual personalities and coping mechanisms for the challenges of living on another world. The first generation of children born on the Moon will have a different relationship with these communication links and with Earth itself. For them, Earth is not home, but a place their parents came from, a world they see through windows and screens, but may never visit. Their identity forms on the Moon, shaped by lunar gravity and lunar experiences, with Earth as an important but increasingly abstract concept. How this affects family connections across the generations becomes clear only as these children grow and develop their own perspectives on the two-world relationship. The first pregnancy confirmed on the Moon creates a mixture of celebration and concern throughout the colony, marking a transition from temporary outpost to permanent settlement in ways nothing else could. Medical staff have prepared extensively for this possibility, studying every aspect of mammalian reproduction in low gravity, from experiments conducted on orbital stations. The health of both mother and developing child receives careful monitoring throughout the pregnancy, with contingency plans in place for return to Earth if complications arise. The entire colony follows the pregnancy's progress with interest and hope, aware they are witnessing history being made. The birth itself proceeds normally by Earth standards, the doctors and nurses managing the delivery with equipment and techniques adapted for lunar gravity, but fundamentally unchanged from terrestrial practice. The baby girl arrives healthy, her first cries echoing through the medical module and transmitted throughout the settlement within minutes, as residents share the joy and relief. Her weight is measured in grams rather than the fractions of lunar gravity, and by that measure, she is perfectly average for a full-term infant. Photographs circulate immediately, the first baby born on another world becoming a symbol of humanity's future beyond Earth. The early months reveal no obvious differences in development compared to Earth infants, the baby feeding and sleeping and growing along expected timelines. Her muscles develop normally for an infant, though of course she never has to fight Earth's gravity as she learns to lift her head and eventually to roll over. Pediatric specialists monitor every milestone carefully, comparing her progress to Earth norms while recognizing that some variations may be expected and healthy rather than concerning. She represents a sample size of 1, making it impossible to distinguish normal individual variation from true lunar effects on development. As she approaches her first birthday, the differences begin to appear in subtle ways that might be unremarkable individually, but collectively suggest genuine adaptation to lunar conditions. Her bones measure slightly less dense than Earth averages, though still within the range of normal variation and apparently healthy for her environment. Her muscle development is appropriate for the gravity she experiences, meaning she can support herself and move effectively in lunar gravity, but would struggle under Earth's pull. Her height tracks at the upper end of Earth growth charts, suggesting she may indeed grow taller than she would have if born on Earth. Learning to walk happens slightly later than Earth averages, around 15 months rather than 12, though within normal variation and possibly reflecting nothing more than individual differences. The process looks different from Earth toddlers learning the same skill, as the low gravity makes falls less dangerous, but balance more challenging. She learns to control her movements in the bouncing gait that comes naturally in lunar gravity, never knowing that walking could be any different. Her parents sometimes wonder what she would be like had they remained on Earth, but the question cannot be answered. More children are born over the following years as the colony population grows and more residents commit to raising families on the Moon rather than returning to Earth. Each child adds to the growing data set about human development in low gravity, patterns beginning to emerge from what was initially only individual observation. The children are lankier than Earth children on average, their bone structure adapting to the reduced load they must support. Their motor skills develop along different timelines, with some milestones achieved earlier and others later compared to Earth norms. The medical staff adjusts growth charts and developmental expectations based on accumulating evidence from the lunar-born children, creating new standards appropriate for this environment, rather than trying to fit lunar development into Earth-based models. Height and weight curves are recalculated, bone density targets adjusted, muscle mass expectations modified. The children are healthy by lunar standards, even when they would appear unusual by Earth metrics. And gradually the colony accepts that normal for the Moon differs from normal for Earth in ways that are acceptable and expected. Education for lunar-born children includes standard academic subjects delivered through a combination of live instruction and Earth-based remote learning. Mathematics and language and history and science are taught much as they would be anywhere, knowledge that transcends location. But lunar education also includes practical skills that Earth children never learn: operating airlocks, recognizing life support warning signs, basic regolith chemistry, emergency procedures for pressure loss. These skills are literally life and death important in an environment where equipment failure could be catastrophic. The children learn about Earth as a place their parents came from, studying its geography and biosphere with the interest of tourists planning a visit rather than residents learning about home. Rain and rivers and forests are concepts illustrated with video and virtual reality, experienced second-hand rather than directly. The children understand intellectually that Earth has open skies and weather and vast oceans, but the moon is their experiential reference point. One child, asked to draw a picture of outside, includes the airlock door and spacesuit, these items being her actual experience of accessing the outdoor environment. Physical education adapts to lunar conditions, with activities designed to maintain health in low gravity while also providing enjoyment and social development. Games that would be impossible on Earth become standard here. Aerial acrobatics, performed with minimal assist devices. Sports played in 3 dimensions rather than 2. The children develop impressive control over their movements in the low gravity, able to precisely judge jumps and trajectories in ways that seem almost superhuman when recorded and sent to Earth. But this is simply their normal, the environment they have known since birth, shaping their capabilities. The question of whether these children could ever visit Earth becomes increasingly uncertain as time passes and their bodies continue adapting to lunar conditions. A child who has never experienced Earth gravity would find it overwhelming if suddenly exposed, 6 times heavier than anything they have ever felt. The cardiovascular system, adapted to lunar conditions, might struggle to pump blood against Earth's stronger pull, the heart not having developed the strength necessary. Bones and muscles that are healthy and functional on the moon might prove inadequate for Earth's demands. Some researchers propose gradual acclimatization programs involving centrifuges that simulate increasingly higher gravity over months or years. The children could spend time each day in these environments, slowly building the bone density and muscle strength necessary to tolerate Earth gravity. Whether this would work remains uncertain without trying it, and the children themselves show little interest in enduring the discomfort of such training. Earth is not home to them, and the desire to visit does not outweigh the effort required. The cultural identity of lunar-born children differs fundamentally from their Earth-born parents, despite growing up in the same households. The children see themselves as lunar first, acknowledging Earth heritage, but not feeling particularly connected to a world they have never touched. Their perspectives on the two-world relationship differ from their parents' views, sometimes creating family tensions when children dismiss Earth concerns that parents still care deeply about. The generation gap includes not just age, but entire worlds of different formative experiences. Social development proceeds normally in most respects, the children forming friendships and learning to navigate relationships and conflicts within the small community. The tight-knit nature of lunar society means everyone knows everyone, reducing privacy, but also creating strong social bonds and support networks. Children grow up with many adult figures involved in their development beyond their parents. The community collectively invested in raising the next generation successfully. Questions of citizenship and legal status for lunar-born children occupy lawyers and politicians in various Earth jurisdictions. Are these children citizens of their parents' home nations? Are they citizens of the moon itself, if such a citizenship could exist? The answers vary by nation and legal tradition. Some automatically conferring citizenship based on parental status, while others struggle with the unprecedented nature of extraterrestrial birth. The children themselves will eventually weigh in on these questions, choosing where they belong legally and culturally, rather than having that identity assigned to them. Looking at these children playing in the low-gravity gymnasium, jumping and spinning with casual grace, you realize you are watching the first generation of humans who will live their entire lives on another world. They are pioneers of a different sort than their parents, not choosing to come here, but simply being here, making lives in the only home they have known. Their existence transforms the colony from outpost to settlement in the most fundamental way possible, proving that humanity can reproduce and thrive beyond Earth. And from their experiences, and those of children who will follow, a distinctly lunar culture begins to emerge. The development of a uniquely lunar culture happens gradually over years and then decades as the population grows and diversifies beyond the initial cohort of engineers and scientists who founded the settlement. Early governance structures designed for a small research outpost prove inadequate as the population reaches hundreds and then thousands, families and children, adding complexity that work-focused organization never anticipated. Decisions about resource allocation, conflict resolution, and community standards require input from residents rather than directives from distant Earth authorities or corporate management. The first formal local government emerges from necessity rather than ideology. A council of representatives elected by residents to handle day-to-day governance, while Earth retains nominal oversight for major policy. The council begins meeting weekly to address complaints about noise levels, disputes over shared facilities, scheduling of common resources, and other mundane but important issues. The meetings become community gathering points, where residents learn what is happening across the settlement, voice concerns, and participate in shaping their environment. Democracy in miniature develops because the alternative, waiting days for Earth input on every decision, simply does not work. Laws and regulations require adaptation to lunar conditions in ways that make some Earth legal traditions seem nonsensical or irrelevant. Property law designed for Earth assumptions about land and ownership makes little sense when you live in pressure vessels or excavated caves. Water and air are not free goods to be used without limit, but carefully recycled resources where waste equals danger. Privacy laws must balance individual rights against safety requirements that sometimes demand surveillance of life-critical systems. The lunar legal code that develops over time incorporates elements from various Earth traditions, but ultimately reflects the specific needs and values of this environment. Living in close quarters where privacy is scarce creates social norms around respecting personal space, even when physical separation is impossible. Headphones are worn universally when listening to music or watching entertainment in common areas, the unspoken rule being that your audio should not impose on others. Conversations in hallways are kept brief and quiet, with longer discussions moved to designated social areas or private quarters. People develop a kind of social blindness, learning not to notice others in moments of frustration or sadness, giving them the dignity of emotional privacy, even when physical privacy is unavailable. The compact nature of the settlement means that conflicts cannot be resolved by simple avoidance. You will see that person again tomorrow, and the next day, and every day after. This reality encourages conflict resolution rather than festering grudges, mediation services being among the most valued resources the community provides. Learning to apologize, to compromise, to find middle ground becomes essential for social functioning in ways that Earth's vast spaces sometimes allow people to avoid. The community develops a culture that values harmony not from idealism, but from practical necessity. Art created on the Moon begins to reflect the unique environment and experience, with sculpture in particular taking advantage of low gravity to create forms that would collapse under their own weight on Earth. Tall, delicate structures balance impossibly, their stability depending on the reduced gravitational load. Some artists work with regolith and basalt, shaping lunar materials into pieces that speak to the relationship between settlers and this world. Others create digital art or holographic displays that require no physical material, conserving resources while still expressing creativity and vision. Music performances happen in common spaces, residents gathering to listen to Earth music or to original compositions created on the Moon. Some pieces incorporate the sounds of the habitat itself, the hum of life support, the whisper of air through vents, the gentle creaks of the structure responding to temperature changes. The acoustic properties of underground chambers allow for interesting resonances and echoes, and some composers deliberately write for these specific spaces. Singing together becomes a popular activity, voices blending in harmony without instrumental accompaniment, the human voice requiring no resources beyond breath. Dance evolves dramatically in lunar gravity, where jumps can reach heights impossible on Earth, and hang time extends far beyond terrestrial limits. Dancers learn to control rotation during leaps, spinning and twisting in ways that look superhuman when recorded and transmitted to Earth. New forms develop that have no Earth equivalent, taking full advantage of the environment rather than trying to replicate Earth-based traditions. Performances become community events where everyone gathers to watch, appreciating both the skill and the beauty of movement adapted to this world. Celebrations mark both Earth holidays and newly created lunar observances, the calendar incorporating traditions from many Earth cultures, as well as events specific to this place. The anniversary of the first landing and establishment of permanent habitation becomes a major celebration, with feasts and storytelling and remembrance of those early days. The moment when the sun rises after the long lunar night is observed with gatherings at observation ports, welcoming the light after 2 weeks of darkness. These new traditions build identity and continuity, creating shared experiences that bind the community together across cultural backgrounds. Food preparation takes on cultural significance as the greenhouse production allows fresh ingredients to supplement the preserved and shipped items from Earth. Community meals become regular events where residents contribute dishes prepared from lunar-grown vegetables and Earth-supplied basics, sharing culinary traditions from their various backgrounds. The constraints of limited ingredients inspire creativity, with cooks developing new recipes that make the most of what is available. Sharing food becomes a primary expression of community and care, the act of eating together creating bonds that transcend the diversity of origins. Sports leagues develop around games adapted for lunar conditions, with basketball played with 3-meter-high hoops and teams learning to use aerial maneuvering in their play. Low-gravity gymnastics combines elements of acrobatics, dance, and aerial arts into competitions judged on difficulty and artistry. Some Earth sports translate poorly to lunar conditions and are abandoned, while others inspire entirely new variants that work better in the reduced gravity. The competitive leagues create social bonds and friendly rivalries, providing recreation and community building. Literature about lunar life begins to appear as residents write about their experiences, perspectives, and imagined futures. Some works are memoirs or non-fiction accounts of settlement life, transmitted to Earth publishers and audiences. Others are fiction set on the moon or about lunar characters, exploring themes of adaptation, identity, and the meaning of home. Children born on the moon write stories about their world with perspectives their Earth-born parents could never quite capture, the moon being simply where life happens rather than an exotic setting. Language begins to show subtle shifts as lunar-specific terminology enters common usage and Earth terms are adapted to new meanings. The word outside means the lunar surface, not outdoors in any Earth sense, and weather refers to solar particle events and micrometeorite showers rather than rain or clouds. Gravity becomes a topic of casual conversation when discussing whether something should be secured or can safely be left loose. These linguistic shifts are minor, but mark the beginning of potential language divergence over generations if the isolation continues. Social structure remains relatively egalitarian due to the small population and the critical importance of everyone's contributions to survival and prosperity. Hierarchies based on expertise exist. The chief engineer's advice on structural issues carries more weight than random opinion, but class distinctions based on wealth or ancestry hold little meaning here. Everyone arrived with essentially nothing beyond what they could carry, and the community's survival depends on cooperation rather than competition. This creates a culture that values competence and contribution over status or background. The relationship between Earth-born residents and lunar-born children sometimes creates tension as perspectives diverge on questions of governance, resource allocation, and cultural priorities. The Earth-born retain connections to their home planet and often consider Earth's interests in their decision-making, while the lunar-born feel no such obligation to a world they have never visited. Mediating these different viewpoints becomes part of the community's ongoing work, finding compromises that respect both perspectives while moving forward together. Family structures adapt to the constraints and opportunities of lunar life, with some households following Earth traditions, while others develop new arrangements suited to the environment. Extended family networks provide childcare and support in ways that nuclear families alone might struggle to manage. Some residents form intentional communities within the larger settlement, groups of people choosing to live in adjacent quarters and share resources more fully. The diversity of family forms is generally accepted, the practical requirements of making life work taking precedence over enforcement of traditional norms. Looking around the settlement's common area during a community gathering, you see people of various ages and backgrounds sharing food and conversation, children playing while adults talk and laugh. The scene could be a community event anywhere on Earth, except for the occasional bounce in someone's step, reminding you of the low gravity, and except for the knowledge that outside these pressurized spaces is an airless vacuum. The culture forming here is recognizably human, yet distinctly lunar, shaped by the environment and by the specific collection of people who have chosen to make lives here. And this is only the beginning of what will develop over the coming decades and centuries, as the lunar population grows and evolves. 100 years from the first permanent settlement, The moon supports perhaps 500,000 people living in a dozen major cities and numerous smaller outposts scattered across the surface. The original colony has grown into a metropolis occupying several connected lava tubes. Multi-level structures rising through the vast underground spaces, housing residential areas, commercial districts, manufacturing facilities, and parks that provide green space and psychological relief from the enclosed environment. Other cities have developed in the polar regions near ice deposits, at equatorial sites optimal for solar power, and on the far side, where radio astronomy requires isolation from Earth's electromagnetic noise. The transportation network connecting these settlements includes surface roads of sintered regolith carrying rover traffic between nearby locations, and electromagnetic launch tracks that can throw cargo containers on ballistic trajectories to distant destinations. Passenger transport still primarily uses pressurized rovers for safety, though some experimental suborbital passenger services are being tested. The moon has become navigable in ways unimaginable in the early years, with journey times between major cities measured in hours rather than the days required, when every trip was a major expedition requiring extensive planning and life support. Manufacturing and industrial capacity has matured to the point where the moon produces most of what it needs locally, importing from Earth only items requiring extreme specialization or materials not available in the lunar resource base. Spacecraft construction in lunar orbit has become a major industry, with vessels destined for Mars or the asteroid belt or Jupiter being assembled from components manufactured on the moon and lifted to orbit at a fraction of the energy cost required from Earth. The lunar economy trades with Earth as a partner, rather than depending on Earth as a supplier, exporting fuel, materials, and manufactured goods in exchange for high-technology components and cultural products. The moon has declared political autonomy through a gradual process that spanned decades. Negotiations between lunar representatives and Earth governments, eventually producing recognition of the moon's right to self-governance in most matters. Earth retains nominal oversight on certain issues and the right to maintain research stations, but day-to-day governance is entirely local, exercised through elected bodies and administrative agencies that have evolved from the early settlement councils. The transition occurred peacefully, both sides recognizing that trying to govern the moon from Earth, across communication delays and vast cultural differences, had become impractical and counterproductive. Scientific research continues as a major lunar enterprise, with facilities dedicated to astronomy taking advantage of the far side's radio silence. Physics laboratories using the unique environment for experiments impossible on Earth, and geological studies that have revealed fundamental insights about the moon's formation and the early solar system. Discoveries made on the moon have contributed significantly to human knowledge, justifying the settlement on grounds beyond simple expansion or resource extraction. The research community maintains close ties with Earth institutions while also developing distinctly lunar approaches, shaped by their unique perspective and access to conditions available nowhere else. Education has become entirely local for children growing up on the moon, with schools staffed by lunar residents and curricula designed for lunar conditions while maintaining compatibility with Earth educational standards for the rare student who might transfer. Universities have established branches on the moon, and some institutions founded here have no Earth equivalent, specializing in fields relevant to lunar conditions or space settlement generally. The educational system produces generations of lunar-educated adults who have never attended an Earth school and whose expertise in lunar engineering, agriculture, and industry exceeds what any Earth education could provide. The question of whether lunar-born residents can safely visit Earth has been answered definitively over the decades of experience. Some can with extensive preparation. Many cannot without significant health risk. Those who attempt the transition must undergo months of training in centrifuges to gradually adapt to higher gravity, building bone density and muscle strength sufficient to tolerate Earth conditions. Even with preparation, the experience is difficult, and some find Earth gravity unbearably oppressive after a lifetime of lunar conditions. Most lunar-born residents choose never to visit, content with Earth being a place they know through media and stories, rather than personal experience. Children born on the Moon now have children of their own, the second generation entirely lunar-born and further adapted to conditions here. These children grow up in a world where everyone they know was born on the Moon or came here as a baby. Earth being almost mythical in its distance and difference. The cultural evolution that began with the first generation has accelerated, creating distinctly lunar art forms, social customs, and ways of thinking that Earth visitors sometimes find difficult to understand. The population identifies as lunar first and human second, their relationship to Earth being historical and ancestral rather than immediate and personal. Proposals for further expansion include establishing stations on the lunar far side, away from any city lights, to support expanded astronomical observations. Mining operations continue to expand, with some asteroids that pass near the Moon being captured and processed for materials scarce in lunar regolith. Discussions occasionally arise about establishing settlements elsewhere in the solar system, with the Moon serving as a launching point and organizational center for such efforts. The pioneering spirit that built the lunar settlements has not been exhausted, but rather seeks new frontiers now that the Moon feels settled and established. The relationship with Earth remains important, but increasingly that of separate but connected societies, rather than parent and child or colony and homeworld. Cultural exchange continues with art, music, and literature flowing both directions, each world finding value in the other's creations. Trade remains significant, though neither world depends entirely on the other for survival. Political relations are generally cooperative, though occasional tensions arise over resource rights, trade policies, or migration restrictions. The two populations are diverging slowly, but recognizably, becoming more different with each passing generation. Looking at the Moon from Earth, astronomers can now detect the lights of the major cities during lunar night, concentrated pinpoints of illumination marking where hundreds of thousands of humans live beneath the surface. Laser communication arrays create flashes visible to careful observers when they beam data to Earth stations. The Moon is no longer a dead world, but a living one, transformed not in its basic geology, but in the presence of human civilization making use of resources that had sat unchanged for billions of years. The future extends indefinitely forward from this point, a story still being written by millions of people making individual choices that collectively shape the trajectory of lunar civilization. Some predictions seem likely: continued population growth, expanding infrastructure, increasing cultural divergence from Earth. Other developments remain uncertain. Will the Moon eventually declare complete independence? Will lunar technology enable terraforming to create exposed, habitable spaces? Will genetic modification allow future generations to be better adapted to low gravity? The answers will emerge over centuries of continued habitation and development. Standing in the observation dome of the original settlement, now preserved as a historical site and museum, you look out across the landscape where it all began. The first habitat modules are still visible, now surrounded by much larger structures and connected to the underground city by tunnels marked with lights. Earth hangs in the sky, as it always has, the blue planet that remains humanity's origin point, even as humanity spreads beyond it. The journey from those first tentative steps to the thriving civilization that now exists spanned generations of effort, setbacks overcome, and problems solved through persistence and innovation. The people who made this happen were not superhuman, but simply humans adapting to circumstances, bringing the same mix of brilliance and foolishness that characterizes the species everywhere. They succeeded because they kept trying, because they learned from failures, because they cooperated when cooperation was necessary, and competed when competition drove improvement. The Moon became home, not through any single grand achievement, but through millions of small acts of building, maintaining, adjusting, and improving over decades and generations. Tonight, children are being born in lunar hospitals. Families are sharing meals in habitats scattered across the surface. Workers are maintaining the systems that keep everyone alive and comfortable. And people are dreaming about what comes next. The Moon is no longer a place humans visit, but a place humans live, with all the complexity and messiness and beauty that human life entails. And somewhere above this lunar surface, Earth continues its daily rotation, the cradle of humanity, visible from humanity's first new home. The two worlds connected across the void by light and radio waves, and the shared heritage of a species learning to live beyond the world that made it.